Hello, concerned citizens. My name is Veronica. Welcome to Saving Gen Z. I created Gen Z to help awaken the world to the dangers facing our children. Disclaimer. This video is not meant to bully, harass, or incite violence of any kind. I am a qualified medical and therapeutic professional, but the statements made in this video are not meant to be substituted for your or your child's private physician or therapist care. The materials used in the making of this video is permitted under the Fair Use Act. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share the videos. This helps promote the channel and educate the masses. Thank you, subscribers and supporters. Please help me support this channel by purchasing some merch or one of my best-selling books and become a Patreon. I hold monthly giveaways on Patreon and post bonus material. You can also follow me on Twitter. All links will be in the description box below. Now let's join together and build a better today so we can have a better tomorrow by questioning the narrative. Hello, this is Veronica of Saving Gen Z. Welcome and thank you for coming here. Thank you for being brave, concerned citizens, because we need to wake up as many people as possible to what's going on, to this agenda that's being perpetrated upon our children and grandchildren. Even if you don't have kids, you know a kid, this is a tough channel to watch. This is tough information to share. But in order for us to have a better future for ourselves, for the youth, for Gen Z, which are the youth, this type of stuff must be exposed. It has gone unhidden for far too long. Okay, and I have been in the midst of it. I've worked in the midst of it. Like I mentioned, I am a licensed professional. I did nurse and counseling, group counseling at a lockdown adolescent psych facility where I counseled these children who were part of human trafficking, children who were molested and pimped out and went through all those things. And I myself had to deal with the topic I'm talking about right now. Okay, which is why I'm so passionate about this. That, and I'm a mother of a Gen Zer, of a Gen Yer, millennial, and I'm a grandmother. So I have all three going on, and all my nieces and nephews are Generation Zers also. The topic I'm going to discuss today this is video number 3, by the way. This is episode 3, is why and how are you and your children being groomed to accept pedophilia as a norm? Yes, you are being groomed as an adult to accept pedophilia as a norm, as well as your child. And who's doing the grooming? They say it's usually someone in the family, a close friend, someone the child knows, someone who you know. Yes, that is true. That is what we're groomed to think. But the ones doing it on a massive scale, on a grand scale, around the world, are the institutions, the government, schools. And the government tells the schools how to groom your children to accept this. I'm going to show some clips, some articles, okay? And I hope you stick in there and hang in there with me and share this information for your sake, for the sake of the children, okay? So here we go. All right, understanding sexual grooming. This is the American Bar Association. Hold on, let me fix my screen here so I can see it better, okay? This is the American Bar Association. And hold on. I need to do this better because I really want everyone to understand what I am saying here. Okay. Yep. This is the American Bar Association webpage. Okay. So I'm trying to get it from one of the best sources I can. So, people cannot sit there in denial. I'm also going to be reading off. I'm also going to read off what I put together from my own books on psychology and sociology. Training books. I can't show those training books because it's from the psych facility where I work, the adolescent psych facility. But this is what we had to look out for. Okay. But I will read the Understanding Sexual Grooming in Child Abuse Cases. Okay. In many child sexual abuse cases, the abuse is preceded by sexual grooming. Sexual grooming is a preparatory process in which a predator or predators gradually gains a person's or organization's trust with the intent to be sexually abusive. The victim is usually a child, teen, or vulnerable adult. Understanding sexual grooming and common sexual grooming behaviors can help professionals prevent sexual abuse before it occurs. Evidence of sexual grooming can be used to convict offenders in those jurisdictions where sexual grooming is a crime and substantiate allegations of sexual abuse where a victim's testimony is unclear or misleading. Straight up, because I've had to, as a counselor at that facility, I've had to be in front of the box, the black box as we call it, to talk to people investigating the cases of the kids and discuss the grooming that was going on. The grooming of the parents, the grooming of the children, okay? Or the parents, maybe they were doing the grooming, okay? Now let's take this apart, okay? When it comes to understanding the sexual grooming, okay? How the predators gradually gains the person or organization's trust with the intent to be sexually abusive, which is what's going on in the schools, which is what's going on your TV screens. This gradual desensitization to pedophilia. Now it seems to be at a fever pitch, but it's been going on for a very long time, slowly but surely going on, getting younger and younger and younger, changing laws to drop ages of consent. And it's all done through sexualization. It's like the boiling frog. You slowly turn up the heat so the frog won't notice it's being boiled to death. Okay? Step one of this method to get us to accept pedophilia is grooming. And we're going to go through grooming. And step two is to create sexual confusion within the entire society, not just the child. It's imperative created in the child, and then created in the parents who are supposed to be protecting the child, created in the teachers who are supposed to be protecting the child, to the point where they have the teachers advocating and pushing the grooming. And we're going to show some serious stuff here. Get ready for it, okay? Now, I'll read you what I wrote here. All right, the stages of grooming. Okay, stage one is targeting. And you target by collecting information on the group, child or group, that is meant to be groomed, to be molested. Step two. Well, step one is targeting. Step two is collecting information. Find out what makes them tick. They love to say, oh, it doesn't matter if a child goes to one of those rainbow parades and there's a group of men standing there in S&M gear with other men on leashes on all fours on the ground. They don't know what they're looking at. No, they don't. It's called passive learning. It's going in the back of their head. It's going in the subconscious, unconscious mind is what's picking it up. If you're constantly around that, what do you think? You think that's the norm. It's like kids who grow up in abusive households. Mom and dad are constantly fighting. They're constantly hitting each other. They're constantly swearing at each other. When that girl or boy grows up, what do? 9 times out of 10, what happens? I'll freely admit my own case. You're raised by a narcissist who's abusive. You're seeing abuse. What do? You go and you date narcissist. You go and you marry a narcissist because that is what you're used to. That is what you're used to seeing. That is what you're around. A child is around sexually explicit stuff, constantly being thrown at them. Mom or dad is standing there while there's naked people walking around. And I live in Miami Beach. I've been to South Beach. I grew up in New York. I have been to plenty of those parades with friends. I stopped going, as did they, and they were gay. They were homosexual, and they said, oh my God, especially once the kids started showing up. And that happened about a good 8 years ago, or even 10 years ago. It's been a while since they've been pushing this. You go to the parade and there's a freaking 5-year-old or 7-year-old, and you have guys, literally, I've seen this in South Beach, doing sexually explicit things to each other while the child's standing right there, and the parents like, la, 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 la. Having little boys dress up in mini skirts with makeup and wigs, lipstick, with little push-up bras. If a woman walks around like that, what are people thinking? That she's hooking, correct? That she's probably a prostitute. How about an 8-year-old boy walking around like that? It's not expressing himself freely. It's sexualization. And it's desensitizing that child, prepping them, grooming the parents. Okay? So that is how, they target they target their group, and then they collect information on the group. Like, okay, there's no data in the home. Let's target that group. Let's get a target group, okay? Let's put those billboards there. Let's have this there. Let's teach it in these schools because we know there's a lot of single parent family households here. Or they're extremely liberal, so they're about to eat it up even more. And trust me, I'm not political in the least darn bit. When I say liberal, I'm talking about SJW, social justice warrior stuff. Love is love. They've been pushing love is love for a while, that phrase. Love is love. What does that mean? They've been lowering the age of consent. They've been saying kids are born, feeling sexual. Everyone feels sexual. All right? Slowly but surely boiling you in your child's mind. Okay, engaging. You tries to fill in a need. That goes with what I was just saying. They engage the child. They engage the parent. After school programs. It sounds real good. All inclusive. That's another thing. Inclusivity is another thing they're throwing around. Oh, you're hate. You have phobia if you don't think that it's appropriate for a biological boy to be in a locker room with your girl. Those kids are ostracized, made fun of. Something's wrong with you. Oh, I just identify as a girl. I could just put lipstick and a wig on. And there was this case, I wish I brought that up, a case of a girl who suddenly decided she was going to identify as a boy. This was in the U.S., Connecticut. Yes, Connecticut. It's Northeast New York. This girl decided in high school she was going to start identifying this year as a boy all of a sudden, right? She wanted to change in the locker room with the boys. None of the boys wanted to be in the locker room with a girl in there. Teenagers don't like that. Kids don't like that. They really don't. They want their privacy. Okay, it's embarrassing enough for them to change in front of each other of the same sex. Never mind somebody of the opposite sex in there. So since the boys were like, heck no, they wanted the gym teacher, who is a male, watching the boys in the boys' locker room to observe the girl changing. He said, heck no, you guys are trying to set me up. And he refused, and he was fired. Now he's suing the school. He's suing the school now, which I hope he wins. Because, yeah, that is a very precarious position to be put in, that you have to watch a girl be naked in the same room as a girl changing, whether or not they want to identify as a she, him, they, whatever. It's still a dangerous position. So they try to fill a need. Then they boundary test. How far can they push you? How far can they push? Sexual education. When do you turn around and say, no, enough is enough? When does the parent say no? Because the kindergartner is not going to know to say no. I've heard kindergartners coming home and crying because they're so confused, because they're reading, these very gender confusing books to them. And they're like, there was this one little girl, oh no, it was a little boy, I'm sorry, it was a little boy. And this is what made the parent take action, both the parents, the mom and the dad, woke up extremely upset, crying, confused, refused to go back to school. They asked the kid why. And he said, because I don't want to be a girl. And he didn't want to go to sleep. He's like, I don't want to be a girl because I was told that you could be a boy or a girl. I want to stay a boy. Kindergartners don't know any better. Again, gender confusion, keep them confused. And then isolation. The they, the them, the isolation, the way the institutions, the government and the schools are doing this isolation part of grooming is by putting in a separate group, putting everybody in separate groups, saying you are so different. If you are a tween girl who all of a sudden got boobs and all the boys are treating you different, and you say, I hate my boobs, which might have two nieces who are tweens, and boom, all of a sudden one year they both developed, and one of them has pretty big ones. She's this big with double D's, and she hates it. She wanted me to convince her mom to get a breast reduction. I'm like, if you want one after you finish puberty, that's fine, but right now you can't do that. You're still going through puberty. Which really upset her, and she cried. But my sister's also a nurse. She's like, oh, no. Thank God she knows better. So that is what's, that's the isolation part. They would say what would they say to my niece if my sister and I weren't, diligent on the whole matter? She would go to school and cry, and she'd be like, no, I don't like my breasts. What would happen? They're not doing that in Atlanta yet, but if she was in California or somewhere in England, Essex, or in Canada, in Montreal, they would start doing the transitioning with her, wouldn't they? They would give her hormone blockers. A dad in British Columbia is going through that right now, and he lost custody of his 14-year-old girl who was going through transition at the age of 11 behind his back. The school started doing it, and I will show you proof that these schools in California do the same thing. Myself, I will tell you myself, when I was a teenager, early teens, I could not stand being a girl. I didn't want to identify as a girl, straight up. I said, don't call me a girl. Girls are weak. And I don't want to be a boy because I can't stand boys because of how I grew up. In my family, it looked like women were weak and allowed themselves to get constantly abused. And I only wanted to wear pants, and since I sewed, I always made like a matching necktie to go with my pants, and it would always be pastel colors. I'd wear, pink pants with a pink tie, Oxford shirt, always had my hair back. Okay. And I wanted to cut my hair. I have very long curly hair. My mother was like, no, you're not allowed to cut your hair. So I bought a short wig. For real. I said I was asexual. That was my whole thing. For a good 3 years, I was asexual. Now, what would they have done to me now? They would have chopped off my breasts. They would have given me hormone blockers. I got over it. I got over it when my first boyfriend kissed me when I was 16. I got over it real quick. Okay? That happens. It happens. And so many parents are being snowed into it, and the children are being snowed into it. Okay? So that is what came. And sexualization. Number 6 is sexualization. Again, there are lessons called I touch myself or I tickle myself. That one is in England. We're going to look at that. Okay. And, oh, Jesus Christ. The sexualization programs going on in the U.S. also. I know in Colorado, Chicago, Texas, California is the real big one, Connecticut. And now they're sneaking up in New York because my BFF is a middle school teacher in New York. She called me up the other day just freaking out at the stuff they want her to teach. She teaches psychology, so she's like, oh my God. She feels awful with the stuff, but she's looking to retire early. That's how upset she is about it. 1 second. So that is what's going on with that. The sexualization of the kids with the sex ed. And then 7 is controlling. Once all these other things are done, you could just control. It's easy for them to control. Okay, so let's go through this. The American Bar Association, what they have to say. Targeting the victim, securing access to and isolating the victim, which is also what they do with the whole transitioning program in the schools. They isolate the kid in school. They isolate the child and don't tell the parents what's going on. They feel they don't have to. That a child can consent to taking hormone blockers. They lowered the age of consent to 14, and now they're trying to do it till 11 years old. Okay? Gaining the victim's trust, which is what the schools are doing. Controlling and concealing the relationship. Again, hiding it from the parents, what's going on in the schools. Also the sex ed. They're not telling the parents what's going on. I asked my BFF, I'm like, oh my God, do you guys send a notice home? Nope. We don't tell the parents. Grooming can take place in person, via the internet, or institutional settings. Oops. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Hold on. I do not know what happened. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's do this again. This is a brand new computer I just got last night. This is my 4th computer for the past 2 weeks. Okay, the U.S. Department of Justice Office of Sexual Offender Sentencing, Monitoring, and Apprehending Registration and Tracking, which is called SMART, uses the following definition of grooming. Grooming is a method used by offenders that involves building trust with a child and the adults around the child in an effort to gain access to and time alone with her or him. In extreme cases, offenders may use threats and physical force to sexually assault or abuse a child. More common, though, are supple approaches designed to build relationships with families. Keep that in mind, what I just read. The purpose of grooming is to manipulate the perceptions of other adults around the child, to manipulate the child into becoming a cooperating participant, which reduces the likelihood of disclosure and increases the likelihood that the child will repeatedly return to the offender, to reduce the likelihood of the child being believed if they do disclose, to reduce the likelihood of the abuse being detected. Okay, so let's cover some stuff. Look at this. This was rolled out. Welcoming schools. Okay, it's an LGBTQ WXYZ thing going on. A project of the Human Rights Campaign Foundation. The Gender Snow Person, Understanding Gender Identity. Suggested grade level 3 to 8. Actually, this is BS. Teachers have been tweeting out that this is showing up in kindergarten classes. This has been showing up in kindergarten classes straight up with, especially in American schools, since I'm America, by the 6th grade, 40% of school-age children cannot read at grade level. By the 6th grade, 60% of school-age children cannot do math at grade level. Yet they have 45 minutes to do this. This is not part of sex ed. This is something completely different. Okay, 45 minutes. The goal is to explore the concept of gender identity and gender expression with students, to help students understand the differences between gender identity, sexual orientation, and sex assigned at birth, because of course every 5-year-old is concerned about this, to help students understand that there are many ways to be a girl, a boy, both or neither. Okay, they're referring to hermaphrodites. All right. Like I mentioned in the beginning of my video, I was a pediatric nurse for 10 years. I worked all the way from NICU with the micro neonates, those are the babies that weigh under a pound, all the way through adolescence, and then into adolescent psychology. I have met 2 hermaphrodites. 2 true hermaphrodites. 2 true hermaphrodites. And that time, from New York City to Atlanta to Miami, I've met 2 hermaphrodites. It is below 1% of the population. But they're going to take 45 minutes of time to help students understand that gender, sexual identity, and sexual orientation, and sex assigned at birth are not binaries, but spectrums. No, it isn't. No, it's not. There is an X and a Y chromosome. Yes, you could have 2 X chromosomes. You could have missing piece of a chromosome. You could have extra piece of a chromosome. Extremely rare, again, from less than, the number that I saw is 0.2% of the population really fall into that category, 0.2%. Why are they pushing so hard on this? We're going to see why they're pushing so hard on this. Students will learn about gender snow person to understand the differences between gender identity, sexual orientation, because a 5-year-old needs to know about sexual orientation, and sex assigned at birth using age-appropriate language. Students will learn a basic tool to help them understand the concept of gender expression. In other words, sexualizing the child. The kindergarten doesn't need to know how to express sex. Defining LGBTQ words for elementary school students. Why does an elementary school student need to understand that? Many of these gender concepts are spectrums, and that includes sex. We know that around 2% of babies are born intersexual. Why are they pushing something so hard for 2% of the population? And actually the true ones, the true hermaphrodites, are less than a percentage. Okay. That is about the same percentage as natural born redheads, 1.7%. Do you see how they try to trick you? Comparing it to redheads. No, I've met, in fact, my granddaughter's a redhead. I've met many, my mother has red hair. I've met many more redheads than I have hermaphrodites, okay? With the thousands of children I've taken care of and come across. You may have students who know that they are intersexual, as many families are opting not to perform surgeries on their intersexual children. Again, less than 1% of the population. Many states are adding a third gender option on birth certificates. This is a handout that they're not telling parents about, again. And here we are with California, which is one of the most radical, crazy sexual education classes. Here are the details on California's sexual orientation class, especially in Sacramento. The parents did a strike and the students did a walkout. The California Board of Education and Planned Parenthood got together. Oh, you should have seen the pamphlets. They were too explicit. Accepting, safe play, they called it, for bondage, because every middle schooler needs to know about bondage and how it's safe. It's called 50 Shades of Safe. That's the pamphlet they're handing out to your children. Children are shown sexually explicit content from kindergarten through 12th grade. Topics include fisting, blood play, masturbation, oral sex, and more. Yes, it does. We're going to explore these books and what they really look like. Okay, the California Board of Education implemented progressive sex and gender education curriculum in public schools across the state, regardless in some cases of parental knowledge or consent. Parents are not given knowledge of what's going on. I remember when I was in high school, I had to bring home a letter that said it was okay for me to go to sex ed class. And that was in 9th grade. Planned Parenthood actually corroborated on this and helped them introduce the sex ed. Never mind abstinence, right? That's not taught anymore. Safe S&M is what's taught right now. Okay, it's the bill is Ep.3, and they always try to use a benign name, California Healthy Youth Act, which was passed. The bill aims to reach K-12 students how to ward off HIV and other STDs, to teach healthy attitudes towards sexual orientation, gender relationships, and to promote understanding of sexuality as a normal part of human development. Yes, sexuality is a normal part of human development, but a 5-year-old does not need to know about this. And different sexual orientations, to be inclusive. There we go again with that word, inclusivity. And you're not allowed to opt out of it. Okay? Now let's talk about it. This was a dad who was freaking out. They talk about mutual masturbation. They discuss gender roles and gender spectrum. And in the support materials, they take it even further. They discuss everything. Topics like role playing for different genders, blood play, dental dams, fisting is mentioned right here. Okay? Heavy petting is also known as foreplay because often it comes before intercourse. But foreplay can be enjoyable in itself and can lead to orgasm for both partners without having intercourse. So this is what they call safe sex. This is what they're teaching your child for safe sex in middle school. In fact, few girls have orgasms through sexual intercourse alone. Often they have to have their clitoris touched at the same time. But make sure to read and check it out. Check it out. On page 78. And they go into talking about foreplay. Look, this is the middle school book. This is it. And this is actually showing 2 boys. Yeah, 2 boys masturbating each other. There is a name for that, but I'm not going to say it. This is in the book. Okay? And they're talking about the clitoris and everything like that, and great waves of pleasure by rubbing it. Here we go. This is in the 5th grade material. This is a shot from the 5th grade material book. Okay. This is talking about masturbation. 5th grade material book. California curriculum. This is supposed to be for AIDS prevention. What it's doing, it is sexualizing the children. It is getting them and you ready to be molested. Okay? How? What is it getting ready you for? How else are they prepping you? Okay? I'm going to show you how they're prepping you. Why they're prepping you. Here's how they're prepping you some more. Okay? Drag queens. Straight up, one of my best friends, may he rest in peace, was a drag queen, and I was the first person to put him in drag. He was in my clothes and my shoes. Okay? But he was also a 28-year-old man. Let's play this.
Does anybody know any of the dances from Fortnite? Oh, then you are a credit to your community. But most of all, Michael likes to twerk. Now, does anybody in this room know
A grown
how
man
to
is
twerk?
teaching children, babies, how to
It's quite
twerk.
important to the story, so I will just give you a very quick demonstration.
I am
What
going
you
to
need
let
do
you see
is
this.
Just stand with your feet sort of shoulder width apart, like so. Okay, I'll show you at the side so you get a better view. And
Get a
you
nice
crouch
view,
down
Karen.
into this sort of position here, so your thumb's sticking out. Hope you're taking this all in. And then you just move your bum up and down like that, and that's twerking.
Wonderful. 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 Okay? Of course I'm being facetious. Okay? That is a drag queen for Drag Queen Hour. And you've seen the parents laughing. Okay? Again, the parents are being groomed along with the children. The parents are being groomed along with children. That was a tame one. I did not want to show you guys the one that went on in America. Several, where the drag queens were on the floor, wearing garter belts, spreading their legs. And in fact, several drag queens here in America, Texas and in Atlanta, that's where they got busted. The parents found out because they looked up the drag queens that came in and found out they were all convicted pedophiles. They were on the sex offender list. And the libraries said the reason why they didn't do a background check is because these drag queens came under their drag names, not their real names. It's a grooming program. Okay? It's a grooming program. And they're grooming your kids for this. 10-year-old drag kid photographed with naked adult drag queen. The drag queen happens to be my daughter's favorite drag queen, actually. This is a Canadian drag kid, Queen Lactasia. As in lactating. Started when he was only 7 years old. This is season 7 winner, Violet Chachki. And here's the picture of this little boy with this naked man. Yeah. Queen Lactasia. In a magazine called Huck Magazine. This is grooming. And this is why they're grooming your kid. For those who aren't American, this is Joe Biden. He's currently trying to run for president. He was Obama's, our last president. He was Obama's VP. And everyone calls him Creepy Uncle Joe because he has a habit of doing this to children. This is why you're grooming, because all this stuff, and there's many of pictures of him like that, all this stuff is coming out. All this stuff is coming out. Here's 8-year-old Lactasia. When little girls play dress up, they don't wear makeup like this. Never mind an 8-year-old boy. Again, this is the Advocate magazine, okay? Champions of Pride. Yes, let's be proud that we are exposing a child to this. I don't understand why gay people, homosexual people aren't upset that they're being exploited in this manner. McCulkin, we all know how horribly abused he was and molested. He was in the movie called Party Monster. And here we go. This is the person who Party Monster was based off of. Okay? That's the person Party Monster was based off of. They're called club kids, these men. He was in jail. This video was made when he recently got out of jail, and this is Desmond is amazing. This movie was made when he recently got out of jail. Okay? I was a club kid in New York myself. Never did drugs, though. I went to raves nonstop. Before that, you know, they're older than me, but before that, you had these type of guys. That's where the ravers came from. Club kids in New York. Get dressed up, whatever, go party or not. A lot of them did drugs. And this guy hacked up his drug dealer in a bathtub. Yeah. This is a murderer. He's a convicted murderer who recently got out of prison. And he's sitting here having tea time with his new pal and Desmond. And I'm going to play this video, and you're going to tell me what you think about what's going on with Desmond. Take a look at this. The word that's over here. It's the date rape drug word. It's a roofie. Let's take a look what's going on with Desmond.
Would you like to be in Vogue magazine? And I was like,
Look
yeah.
at Desmond.
Right, sure you were.
And so the next day, because this was on the first day, I wrote the costume that I wore the first day for...
Now that costume's on your Instagram, isn't
Look
it?
at this.
We're going to flash it on the screen.
I love the picture where you're holding the Vogue card. You know it? It's really beautiful. He's got the rhinestone.
Okay. What message are they giving out? What message are they giving out there? Again, sexualization, grooming, thinking it's cool, thinking it's okay. We covered California. And this is the twerking one. We covered that, which is, trust me, be grateful that this is the only one I showed you, because it's pretty horrific. And this is why they're grooming society to accept pedophilia. Justin Trudeau, which is, by the way, just won his seat for the second time in a row, correct? In Canada, Justin Trudeau's BFF jailed after international pedophilia ring bust. Right? Birds of a feather, correct? Birds of a feather flock together. This bust just happened on the 21st. U.S. Senate implicated in child porn bust. It was a pretty bad one. It was like 900 and something, arrested 338 pedophiles, saving at least 23 children being actively abused. And the kiddie porn was, it was like over 900 and something items of kiddie porn found. Okay. A longtime close friend of Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has been found guilty. So this is not alleged, okay? Is found guilty of child pornography charges after being caught directing an international pedophilia ring. This is why it's not just about the U.S. It's not just about Canada. It's everywhere. This guy, Epstein, connected worldwide, right? To Hollywood, Hollyweird, connected to modeling agencies all around the world. I used to model. I went in it when I was a teenager. And let me tell you, every single story is true. They do try to prostitute, try to pimp you off. It's true. I ran away from some very hairy situations many a times. Okay. Hundreds. This just happened also on the 21st of October. Hundreds of suspected pedophiles arrested in an operation sparked by one of UK's worst child abusers. And these people are very connected. Oh, here we go. Prince Andrew. 75 high-ranking government officials detained in global child trafficking bust. Notorious pedophile Gary Glitter set to make a fortune. And he's convicted also. Here it is. Social media sites can't decide how to handle non-offending pedophiles. That's just the beginning. They want to say, hey, it's not offending, just as long as you just, you're not harming the child. Now, what they're starting with that. That's just what they're starting with. That is just what they're starting with. What they're going to do is, turn up the heat in the pot while you're boiling. They're boiling you, boiling your child. Okay. And they're just turning up the heat. They're turning up the heat. They're turning up the heat and preparing you to accept that. Non-offending pedophiles, they're trying to make you accept the non-offending pedophiles. Come on, mouse. Okay. They're trying to make you accept and your child accept the non-offending pedophiles and just say it's a sexual preference. Actually, TED Talks had a huge thing on how pedophilia is a sexual preference. Okay. Decriminalizing. I want to prove that. You could look it up. TED Talks. Decriminalization of pedophilia. Did a whole TED Talks. Had a psychologist up there talking about it. Did a few of them. I was going to do TED Talks, and that's why I didn't do it. And when I saw that, I was like horrified. Okay. So that's what it's all about, everyone. So get out of the pot. The water's hot. Okay. Pull your kids out of the pot. The water is hot. Help others see this video. Help others understand that so they can know they're in the boiling pot under the guise of love is love, under the guise of inclusivity. All right? Like I said, this has nothing to do with any type of phobia. Be brave. Don't let the few voices scream out, reasonable talk. That's what they do. Those who scream the loudest, right, have the most to hide. For real. And by saying non-offending pedophile, that's the push right now. While they're pushing that, they're pushing, it's come from this way. They're desensitizing you and your child and grooming you and your child to accept that, right? And then they're going to meet where, hey, it's okay. The child is completely sexualized. They're confused. You're confused. So all of these pedophiles who are being caught up in all these pedophile rings, who are being exposed now because there's no hiding for them. Now all their names are coming out. They're going to go under the guise of, acceptance, love and love is love. A child can consent to sexual stimulation because they want to. It makes them feel good. Oh, geez, that's what I forgot to show. I really wanted to show the one that's rolled out in England right now. I really want to show that one. With the British School Board approving that whole approving the whole program. The sex ed class. Let's see if I can bring it up. Where is it? It's let me see if I can pull it up. I had it up, sorry. Here it is. Oh yeah. Is this it? I don't think that's it. There, I really want to pull it up. I forgot the name of the program. I think it's Essex. I think that's where it is. And I know they start in kindergarten. That's Sacramento. And that's Sacramento. They're just showing American stuff because I'm in America. I had found it before. I apologize. I had found it before, but I lost it. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. I forgot the name of the program that they did in England when it comes to sexual education, talking about when you touch yourself down there, it feels good, talking about stimulating yourself, which is part of the curriculum, and parents couldn't opt out on. But the Muslim parents did show out in force to fight it, that's for sure. They were like, oh, heck no. So that program's supposed to start in September, but the parents aren't having it, and you're not supposed to be able to opt out. All right, so we're going to explore in the next video, we're going to explore that whole sexual confusion thing, why they're going so hard on the sexual confusion. Why are they pushing these hormones on kids? What is going on with that? Okay, it's very much connected to everything coming out with these high-ranking people who are pedophiles. Kevin Spacey, he's an actor in America. He's being prosecuted right now. He's in big trouble for molesting a 15-year-old on set, okay? It was in a green room, in a back room, molested a 15-year-old. He was the son of somebody who was working on set, of another actor he was working with, okay? And what did he come out and say? Oh, I'm being brave and coming out of the closet. I'm gay. You're not gay. You're a pedophile. And that's what a lot of them are going to pull, saying, I'm just gay. That's why I had sex with a 7-year-old boy. I'm just gay. That's what they're trying to pull. Okay? Don't fall for it. Don't let your loved ones, if you love your loved ones, don't let them fall for it either. Okay? Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next video.